now we have come to bathe in the well of nightmares that was made by and for your kind. I am sure you all know this one personally, of being engulfed in a situation that affects you so deeply that you experience a terrifying dream that just keeps going and going, assaulting your wretched well-being continuously with horrific images one after another, till you are nothing but a broken and weeping insignificant life within the darkness that has befallen you. This vision I'm about to show you all will no doubt become a part of your never-ending nightmares. Startled by an awful dream, the man called Thomas immediately stood up, his feet touching the cool wood floor, his legs shaking from the fresh memory of the nightmare he awoke from. Upon looking around his room, he decides to leave the confines of his bedchamber, to walk it off and forget about the girl's face, the crimson blood that spilled from inside her, and especially the knife that he himself was holding deep into the bleeding flesh of a small frame. As he walked from room to room to clear his head, he was surprised to see a picture fall to the ground, and upon closer inspection saw what looked to be a family photo. Not only did he see himself when he was younger, but also the girl that was in his dream, standing in front of two older people, each of them staring blankly, like one small happy family. With a heavy heart welling with anxiety, he continued to walk through his house. Everything seemed so normal, but yet he couldn't shake off the feeling that something was not right, and he would soon see one of the countless things to put him on edge. There, in the darkest part of the closet, he could have sworn he saw a shadowed figure standing there, but it disappeared before he could even get close enough to see who it was. Regardless of what he thought he saw, he kept on walking, becoming more and more uneasy as he saw a raven crashing into a window, leaving a large blood stain upon the window pane. Items falling on their own accord, and he found more blood left in a small pool and dripping in the kitchen. He rushed out of the house and into the woods, as if desperately trying to get somewhere. He kept on running himself out of breath until he made it to the graveyard, and after passing many of the colorless tombstones of the departed he ignored, he stopped at one decorated with a colorful wreath that got his full attention.
Gabby, no!
You're still sleeping? You promised we'd meet for breakfast.
Huh? Oh.
Are you okay? You look upset.
I'm sorry. I just had a terrible nightmare. I dreamt you were dead.
That's silly. I'm fine. Besides, you always promised you'd take care of your little sister.
Well, that was when we were kids.
It's still true, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why don't you try to get back to sleep? I'll wait outside.
The girl that left the room was called Gabrielle, a very sweet girl that I am sure you all will understand he feels very close to. Finally awake from his dream, he leaves the room, and yet, even though he is awake, he still feels something is off. especially when he cannot see his sister, who only left the room a few seconds before he did. With only one option, he searches the house, which is completely different from the one in the dream he awoke from. For one thing, there was a doorway that was boarded up, which had him curious. Then the unusual number of dolls strewn about the house had him concerned. But then, he saw the clock. Upon seeing the clock, it became apparent that he was still trapped in the nightmare. Though granted, he doesn't know that. Seeing the beheaded miniature figure leaking droplets of blood from its neck unnerved him, and made him continue his search for what was going on inside this house. The more he tried to uncover, the more stranger and unsettling things became. Darkness enveloped most of the halls. Strange shadows moved with no physical form. Messages written in blood. And once he made his way past beyond the boards, he saw the reason to never go up the stairs. Anything that stood out to him, he examined closely, which he immediately regretted after only a momentary glance upon what lay before him. Any time he felt the embrace of death get close to his sister, or was lost to the darkness, he always awoke, startled, in a different bed, or even a different place altogether that was not his home. Every time he woke up, he had no clue where he would find himself, whether it be the house, a dilapidated home, the forest, or worse, the insane asylum, each with their own horrors that awaited him and would tear him mentally, but also physically. For you see, not only did Thomas have to contend with keeping his mind sane from the disturbing things he witnessed, but also the oddities he would find he had to run or hide from to survive. Hallways were blocked by huge hulking creatures that looked like oversized burly toddlers. Blind blood-stained madmen of the asylum shuffled in search of him to pounce on him and bite his precious flesh. And broken dolls moved on their own accord, slowly approaching him with mysterious intent. But let's be honest here. In this unending dream of foreboding terror and despair, they are the least of his fears compared to all the psychological dread that he was attacked by, consisting of vast amounts of blood that always stuck out, dominating most of his surroundings, dead bodies and body parts strewn about with little regard for life, and images of grisly self-mutilations. Yet, no matter wherever he goes or what he does, there is no escaping the horrid dreams that harm him mercilessly, and with so little answers or options to help him break away from this dream with no end, his suffering will continue on and on and on, with no hope of stumbling upon a way out, and only end up forever finding the very source of his eternal misery, the lifeless corpse of his precious sister. One cannot choose what he suffers with in life, for that is in the cards of fate to decide, alongside your actions and your mental well-being that holds up your very being, your will to carry you. However, when you draw from the deck of fate and given a lifetime of despair in return for what you put into life, it is something that sticks with you in both reality and dream and never lets go, no matter how hard you try to shake it off, leaving you with only two options: live or leave with the suffering that scars your soul, given to you by your actions. The last nightmare will come soon for you all, my dear audience. The last nightmare that will leave you all captivated by its horrific beauty, for me to share with you all before the bell strikes for the end, for your man-made nightmares to end for another year.
Hey there folks, just thought I'd take this time to talk to you all about something concerning this game I covered in this video. This game was made to bring awareness to a very real and true horror in life for many of us, and that's depression. At some point in our lives we all experience some form of depression. While most of us can get through it with it just being a rough patch in our lives, there are those of us who can't, where they feel so deep in despair that they feel that there is nothing else, and they are all alone in a world that doesn't care for them and what they are going through, or they just don't want to be a bother to anyone and keep it to themselves. I know others, even more well-known people, have probably already talked about this, but I just can't let this go by. It's not in my nature to ignore such things, given the chance. I know this may sound silly, but there are people out there who really need our support right now. Family, friends, lovers, even people who we don't know personally, need to know that someone does care for them, and they do matter, and they would be missed. So if you know someone who is suffering with depression, reach out to them. Show them the way forward, whether it's taking the time to talk with them, or offering someone that could help them. And even if they don't show it, give them support. Show them that their life has meaning, lest we forget all those we have lost to such a terrible thing. Thanks for taking the time to listen, and let's not only have fun, but also help those that need us most. See you around, folks. Till next time.